we have attempted conflict resolution in the past in Israel and Palestine, and non-violence activism, and general activisms of different other forms of activism to conflict resolution. But we have never tried to do compassionate activism. And let me explain to you what I mean by compassionate activism. We had Palestinians and Israelis who would go down to the street and stand in the face of violence, but it wasn't coming from a space of saying, I see you as a person, I honor you as a person, therefore I want to have that vision of me and you living in peace. All our activism in the past was coming from the space, if I want to get rid of you, hopefully the next morning you will not be on this earth even. Let's separate. That was the mindset of conflict resolution that we had. If you bring a small child, and you put them in a small room, and you close the door, turn off the lights, and give them no light to see, they start screaming, calling on you to open the door. First time, second time. You don't hear them, they start knocking. First time, second time, third time. By the end, they'll kick the door and open. And those things that we've witnessed in the land of violence were merely a scream of people who were saying, we are not seen by your peace process. Your peace does not see us, does not represent us. And I'm going to be honest with you and say, actually it's true. We thought that we know what peace is. We thought that we understand how to make peace. And we thought that we know what people wanted. Our arrogancy and our ego as peacemakers blinded us from realizing that actually we don't know. And that we actually need to sit down with the people and ask them. And instead of every time somebody saying, I don't agree with you, instead of kicking them out and closing the room, we actually need to bring them all to the table. And that is why we ended up with a peace process that only represented 30% of the people on both sides, and was not responsive enough to bring the majority to the table. Because we asked the Jewish community who linked to Judea and Samaria, which again, from a Jewish perspective, that is where the whole history of the Jewish community happened. We asked them to deny part of who they are and deny their connection to that part of the land and give up on it, not be in it. Similar to what we did on the Palestinian side, when we go down to town hall meetings and to refugees and tell them, you know this key, that's a symbol of your return, the right of return, you have to give up on it. And what we were asking them basically to do is to give up part of their identity. And that was the sin that we committed in the peace camp, because we basically asked people to deny part of who they are and therefore lose contact or connection with their morality on both sides. And therefore we ended up with the failure of peace and the raise of screams of people who were saying enough or no, this does not represent us. Unfortunately, the screams were violent. We don't agree with the use of violence, but we have to face ourselves. This is what used to happen in the land.